Right after a bunch of coding, I've gotten myself to the point where I really have no idea of what to do next. So just like any sane person would do, I procrastinated. I gave myself a break and read some of the GD script manuals for a while, and somehow I've gotten myself into preloading and instancing.
Yeah, boy.
With the use of preloading and the help of a couple of YouTube tutorials, I was able to formulate a top-down 2D shooter in which a player would be able to shoot by instancing the bullet scene into the main scene. Pretty cool, eh? The idea of preloading is to take an instance of one scene into another scene, and this idea of instancing opens up a lot of different possibilities in terms of game mechanics. But the real question now is, how are we going to use this knowledge of instancing into our 2D platformer? Well, my name is Elijah and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're familiar with this channel, you'd know that I have zero programming experience before getting into Godot, and that this quarantine boredom has got me into game development, and raging over a couple of error messages and bugs. Alright, so let's cut all the crap and head right back into the topic. I copied the exact same code that was used for the top-down shooter. However, I made it that instead of aiming at the mouse, it would be aiming at the position of the player. I also added in a rigid body as the bullet, taking the form of an arrow in which I've drawn, and I'm guessing that by this part of the video you already have an idea of what I'm thinking about. It was late for me to realize that the game was actually preloading the arrows infinitely over and over again, and was taking too much of the processing power of my potato of a PC. That definitely needs to be fixed. And also, I personally thought arrows bouncing around the place were kinda absurd, and I kinda wanted it to look like the giant arrows from Dark Souls, in which well, I guess that explains it. So I got this idea in which once the arrows hit the ground, it would be replaced by this static copy of the same arrow, which would be deleted off of the scene after a set amount of time. With this code implemented, I was able to kinda imitate the illusion in which the arrow would stick in the ground for a little while before being taken off of the scene. A pretty decent addition so far. And to make dodging these arrows a lot more fun, I decided to add in a rolling mechanic, though I'm not really quite sure if it complements my current level design, so I'm just gonna have to keep it for later. Taking a look at some 2D platformer games for inspiration, I noticed that there was something missing with the movement mechanics from my game compared to theirs. Particles. The things that I hate to draw the most. They can be the most interesting things to draw since particle effects are pretty much detail savvy, but in the context of pixel art, it can be very frustrating since you are going deeper into the details, but the fact that you're drawing pixels just wouldn't allow you to do so. As you can see, I was pretty much doing it over and over again, looking for the best.
A few moments later.
Right, so we are up to our 67th attempt, and so far it has been
one eternity later.
Finally. Going back to preloading, I was able to put the particle effects in by preloading them into the scene if the character's jump function is called. I also really wanted the effects to...
It's time to stop!
I also really wanted the effects to appear right before the character lands from a jump. However, I wasn't really quite sure how to do it. And since
I'm something of a scientist myself.
what I did is that I added in a little raycast right underneath the player and coded it that by that split of a second that the raycast is colliding with the floor while the player is still in midair, it would preload an instance of that particle effect. Yet, as expected, it does come with a couple of bugs. So if you guys got better ideas on how to preload just a single copy of that particle effect, please leave a comment down below. Help a fellow game dev. Remember this cute little guy from the first video? The last time, he isn't actually that quite interactable, but this time if you try to mess with him, it's gonna be real bad. I implemented it that once the death animation of the green worm ends, a preloaded instance of the red worm would be taking its place. This guy was actually really fun to draw. I wanted it to look ferocious, so I added these little arms on his back, which I kinda wanted it to look like blades. But I failed, obviously. But so far it looks nice. Is the character design original? Of course, yes! Was it copied from another game? Definitely not. Was it inspired by StarCraft? To wrap things up, I also added an area 2D which is mapped right in front of the red worms. And this area serves as a hitbox in which once the player collides with a hitbox when it's activated, the damage function will be called from the player. In layman's term, damaging the player. Looking at my game environment, to be honest, I wasn't really that satisfied with how it looked like. So I went on to redesign it by using this super helpful tip.
Hey, yo guys, so here's one little secret that the pros use to get ideas. First step is you open Google. You'll see this box right here. This box right here, you type down what you need. 2D dungeon platformer. Click this right here, images, and see this, copy all of this.
Armed with inspiration, I went on to draw the environment, and to juice things up, I went on to add in a parallax background as well as some foreground elements to give it some kind of a 3D look. Here's how it goes so far, and I'm really proud of it. Hopefully you liked this video as much as I liked making it, and thanks for staying till the end of the video. If you have your suggestions, please leave a comment and a like would be very much appreciated. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button too. Now as always, y'all stay safe.
are you running? Why are you running?